I want to ask you, what drives you? I don't want you to tell me surface level. We've been through a lot together, so let's get deep. What really drives you to do what you do?
Well, my purpose drives me, okay? And as I said earlier, I was very fortunate that I went on a self-discovery some 10 years ago, well, probably 13 now, where I was very lucky to uncover my purpose, which is to change the world one person at a time, starting with me, in order to live your best life. And, as I said, to me, that best life is having achieved meaning, wealth, and freedom.
Yeah.
And I deeply care about people, and that's something that, my team, a couple of years ago, we were doing our own review of our own strategy, and they all sat down around the table and said, Christian, we talk a lot about core competencies.
Yeah.
And they were, Christian, care is your biggest competency. And I'm like, care's a value. And I said, how can you differentiate care? Right? And a core competency has to be a totally different market differentiator for you. And they just said, have you not listened to anything that your clients tell you? That you care more about them than anybody in the world, and you demonstrate it, you do it.
Yeah.
And so we adopted that philosophy of care.
Absolutely. You do deeply care. Christian, I know this is hard, and we're going to cover some of the hard stuff. Talk to me, you've shared it before, but what are some of those key moments of your upbringing, your past, that have shaped you into who you are today?
Look, on the journey of finding my purpose, I had to dig really deep with this.
Yeah.
And, one of the earliest moments of my life was actually coming home. We were living in Munich. My father worked for the consul, for the consulates, so diplomatic corps. And I remember coming home and I was looking for my favourite toy, and I kind of lost my shit. And I said to my mother, what's going on? She said, I gave it away. The nuns came and they were looking for donations for toys. And, I thought that this was the toy that, you loved it so much that others would love it. Give away my favourite toy.
Yeah.
On the journey, I realised that lesson, and I would have been just about 5 years old, that lesson taught me about giving, and giving with a generous heart. Didn't teach me that people give away your stuff and it should piss you off. And this is where two people can go down two different paths. And for me, it was that philanthropic path. So the reason why I can now talk about all this, I've taken all these steps. So for me, my childhood was very challenging by the world standard. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I was very lucky. My parents provided for me to go to schools. I mean, I got expelled a couple of times. So I wasn't the ideal, boy. But I grew up in a house that was dominated by verbal and physical abuse, and so my father was extremely heavy-handed, very violent, and sometimes you'd come home and I got a detention and I ended up getting a lashing for it. Not like a slap. One very distinct memory is being chased around the house, running for my life because I was being chased with the rubber hose.
Yeah.
And if you can get being hit with a rubber hose, and I forgive my father for it. It's not, I now realise that that's his own self-control, his own challenge, his own issues. I don't think for 1 minute my father didn't love me. But that sets you on a journey that you can either be a victim or you can be a victor. And for me, in that physical area, it didn't really affect me. I got on with it. In fact, it drove me to be a really good athlete, and I excelled a lot at sport.
Yeah.
I used my sheer size to my advantage, but never to drive fear or to to intimidate others. You know, I got bullied at school too, and you know, and beating people in handball and beating them on the basketball court, that helped me overcome the bullyingness. And I had a lot of other really positive influences in my life, like my grandparents were really amazing human beings, and from both sides of the family. And I spent a lot of time growing up with them independently, so I learnt the value of hard work from my maternal grandparents, and I learnt care, I think, in many ways from two very strict paternal grandparents, but they loved me, and you could see it, you know, and I lived with them for a while my parents were still in Munich. And, you know, I went back and spent some time looking after my grandmother while she was dying of pancreatic cancer. You know, very tough to
that
do.
would have been extremely hard.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much held both of my grandmothers 20 odd years apart, you know, on the day they died. And, you know, I still struggle with that because they were two very important people in my life. And I've had a lot of significant women in my life that have helped me. And I'm very lucky that I'm supported by, you know, probably the best woman in the world, only because, you know, she loves me unconditionally. She puts up with me. She allows me to live my dreams, and, you know, often she'll put her dreams on hold for me. And so, you know, I'm learning to now support her in her journey, in her art and in her passion for what she wants. And so I'm, you know, I don't think you ever stop learning, Simi. I think that's what I'm alluding to. And for me, that's been the magical moments of uncovering who I am along this journey.